I'm Mike with Edgecrafted Creations. Today I'm going to make a selection of beautiful pens start to finish and show you my process. Today we're going to make some of these Cortona twist pens. What I've done, I've set my miter saw so it's cutting just slightly longer than what the brass tube is. So we just need to go ahead and mark all these and put a center punch hole right in the middle, and then we'll drill them all out. The pens I'm working on have quite a long barrel. They're a little over 3 inches. I don't have nearly that as far as travel for my drill press. So I have to drill. We'll clear it out as we go, and then I'll have to keep raising the table, keep drilling down through until we get all the way through. As you can see, this method works. I only mark one side. Like I said, it still drills through with the Rockler pen press drill jig. It definitely holds it square. As long as you're starting with a fairly square pen blank, you'll get pretty good results with it. That's our 4 blanks drilled out, ready for our brass tubes. So we're gonna move over to the workbench, start gluing some tubes. What I do, I just use a punch that I got in a standard set of punches. Find the one that fits fairly well. I don't want it tight, but it'll slide on, and then the shoulder on the punch will hold it in place. And then we're just gonna apply some glue and then slide it on the blank. You'll see as I apply them, I actually turn them. That spreads the glue all the way around them. If you can see, I just insert the tubes just below the surface. You still have some time. It is super glue, but under the circumstances, it gives you a little bit of working time. Get that tube centered from both ends. These aren't gonna have a whole lot of extra on it if you set up your miter saw right to do it the way that I do it. Again, it's just simpler when we're going back to square up the end of the blanks. There's not a lot of material to remove. But just wipe off the excess, we're ready to go on. Okay, we're back in the shop. The glue has dried on the blanks. They've been sitting overnight. These should be good and stable to work with on the lathe. But before we put them on the lathe, what we want to do is trim the ends of the blanks perpendicular to the tubes. So that way when you're assembling your pen, you have a nice flat surface that your hardware is going to assemble to. What we're going to use for that is this universal pen barrel trimming kit that I got from PSI Woodworking. Essentially all it is a selection of drill bits that you can replace inside of this cutter. One set screw swaps them out, so you just put it in the right one for the size tubes you're using, and that will fit right down in. Obviously this one has a little bit of glue in it, but essentially it'll just trim that little bit of glue out. It'll clean them up, polish that inside so the mechanism for the pen and everything slides nice and easy. It's nice and true and clean. And then whenever it's going down, the cutter on the top will true up the top edge, or the ends of the blank, and make sure that those are flat for your hardware. Okay, so what you can see is as the trimmer comes down, it'll actually polish this top edge, kind of let you know whenever you've hit that brass barrel, brass tube, and that's when you know to stop. All right, that's all 4 of our pen blanks successfully trimmed. Now you can see all the ends are perpendicular to the tubes. Just a couple notes about some of the equipment that I'll be using. I have a pen mandrel on here. It's a 7mm pen mandrel. Got some spacer bushings. I'll show you how we're going to use those. And I also have the bushing set that comes for the pen model that we're using. So every pen model's got its own bushing set. Some crossover. So what you have to do, you have to put one of these bushings on here first. It's stepped down so it actually slides onto the brass tube that's inside of it. And then the other side goes on the other end. Once you get them lined up and in place, slide a couple spacer bushings in, slide your end tailstock over, lock it in place. All right, we're pretty good. I've got a slight bulge in the middle. I did that on purpose for grip. We're just proud of the bushings on each end. We'll get that taken care of whenever we sand it. I use a 2-part finishing system. First thing I use is Mylan cellulose sanding sealer. Then what I finish with is high build friction polish from Mylan's. What I still like to do is take a little piece of steel wool. This is extra fine steel wool, and I'll just go with the grain. So my last sanding with sandpaper was with the grain to the length of the barrel. So I'll do that real light. It's not taking off very much surface, but we're getting rid of any kind of imperfections in that finish, that those 2 good coats of finish I put on there. This just smooths those out. So if there happens to be any ridges, it should take care of them for you. And then I'll go back and I'll put another coat of friction polish over top of that. And you want to get a nice smooth coat on this last one. So as I'm pressing on the blank with the finish, you'll actually start to feel a heat build up on your finger. You don't want it to burn your finger, but when you start feeling that heat build up, it'll actually push the finish with you, and that's smoothing it out behind you. Essentially, you got it all smoothed out, and you get this nice glass finish. So that's what we're looking for. Okay, our last step before we call this blank done, we're going to take it off the lathe itself, remove our bushings, and then what we're going to do, we're going to seal the ends of this blank. It's going into a pen, so it shouldn't be submerged in water or anything of that nature. However, there's always a chance where you get a liquid spill or something like that. I want to make sure that these blanks aren't going to take in water. So what we have is open, fresh, unfinished wood on the ends. There's nothing on there. So what I do, I take the Mylan's cellulose sealer, just get a little bit on your paper towel. It doesn't take much because you don't want to build up on here. You're not looking for a fine finish on here. You're not looking for a polished finish. You're just looking to seal that grain so any liquids should not absorb into there. Now, it's not perfect. It's not going to be 100% waterproof, but it gives a little bit of a deterrent, gives a little bit of resistance, and there's our finished blank. I have two different versions of the hardware kits. I have gunmetal and I have chrome with gold trim. We're going to put these together. I'm going to use the Rockler pen press. Serves dual purpose for drilling as well as assembly. So what I do, and I've had a few marks from this before I started doing this, is I put a piece of paper towel on each side. It's just a little cup in here, and it's just hard metal. If you put the hardware against here, you can get a scratch or even a crack in that finish. And that's our pens. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out our website at www.edgecraftedcreations.com, where you can find links for our Facebook page and our Instagram feed. This is Mike from Edgecrafted Creations. I'll see you next time.